net worth, having a network. He doesn't have to be in my life bringing all of these things. Still, an average man will deserve and will have my respect. You need to learn these things. Why do you expect a man to bring all of these things to the table when you don't even look feminine? Listen, you women, you need to learn from me. I'm here trying to show you how to do it, but you're too busy attacking me, turning around saying I'm attacking you.
And then to sit down here.
That's enough. And it's really interesting. It's an interesting time, right? But and I think I touched on this in another video, right? About, and I always touch on this about how black men, we think like property. We don't think in our best interest. We don't even get into relationships and actually make sure, first of all, be clear about what we want to get out of it. Most black men would see that as like, they wouldn't relate to that. Like they would be a little nervous to demand something, to demand respect. Also, again, most men in general, especially if it's an attractive woman, especially if they could definitely, or if she attractive or they're having relations, it's hard for him to say, I'm good. And the only way you really could do that, you really have to, you have to have your own life. You have to have your purpose. Like real talk, until a man come out with some lofty goal, and until he gets closer to his faith, he comes to and he get his health together, and he acts with the future in mind, none of his decisions are going to really make sense. And we're also starting to see that in these conversations, right? When we have them online, what we keep picking up on is that, yo, do women want a guy that's smart? Because a guy that's smart is not going to come into your life and just do whatever you want him to do, or you're not going to be able to change him and mold him into what you want him to be. He doesn't come into your frame, right? So, but anywho, we're starting to see a shift, and don't get me wrong. Listen, people who date interracially really don't make up for like that many relationships, honestly. But there is going to be an uptick. It's going to be a huge uptick, and again, we keep going over the economy plays a role, and also this is the first time that black men have been in charge of their own PR, or have been able to put images of themselves out there that are positive, and also, you know, look all this media we have on here, black men sounding intelligent, making good points, and not sounding super duper ghetto, or not trying to sound like a hood nigga. You understand? So, and anyway, I also want to reference her point about average. I think what people have to understand is that when people do not speak English as a first language, I don't know, people act like they've never noticed someone, when they don't speak English as a first language, that they will use words. They'll use words that just maybe don't sound as appropriate or sound as good. So people who speak English as a second language, they're not always able to know how to elevate or express things elaborately at times. You know what I mean? You'll hear like Indian people, like kind of like twisting grammar around. You know what I mean? Like every nationality that doesn't speak English does it, where they say certain things or they'll say certain things in broken English. And then when we probably sound the same way when we speak different languages, right? But what she's trying to say is that it wasn't an insult for her to say average. Average was never an insult. If I said your child is the average weight, you wouldn't say, what? If I said, hey, your child's the average height, your child's reading level is normal, or their comprehension is normal, is average, is normal, right? You wouldn't be insulted by that. But what she's trying to explain is that what's keeping y'all single is the fact that y'all don't want to build. You don't want to build a relationship. And let me tell you something. This is while another lesson I learned from battle rap. One of the lessons I learned from battle rap, right, is your expectation. What can mess people up in the battle is if they go into a battle and thinking of the battle line by line, and they don't have an actual performance or a point they want to get to. That's why like a constant punching style, it's not that it's bad, right? But if you're looking for crowd reactions and you're not getting them, it can slow you down. Or, you know, they may be coming too fast. Pause. Or maybe you're going too fast. So it depends on what time of the night. Depends on what you're talking about. Is it relatable? Do they understand? All these different things, right? But my point being is that when you think more of being a long distance runner versus a sprint, right? So for example, right, if you think something is a sprint but couldn't find out, it's going to be a long distance run, that can kill your spirit just because you're not ready to go the distance. And a lot of people, they think in terms of sprints and not laps. Like in my lifetime, right, I could deter someone or discourage someone by just telling them, you're going to have to do this, this, and this, and that will deter them from pursuing the thing they asked me about. Right? And you won't believe how many people never get anywhere because of that mindset. Even like I was thinking earlier,